Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. Today we're going to get to take a good close look at some of the new models for Legions of Steel. Now, recently they had a Kickstarter to republish the original version, but the main idea while they were doing that was to actually come out with a new version of it. And I was more interested in the new version just to see what kind of models they've got. And lo and behold, I had a package show up today showing me just that. So these are going to be some of the actual models that are going to be included in the new Legions of Steel game. Yes, they are metal, but check out the detail on these guys. Super crisp, super nice. This is one of the Earth, what are they? The Commandos. Commando trooper dudes. I like those helmets. They're funky. And that's one of the things I really dig about the designs for this game is just there is a certain unique look to everything. While, yeah, there is some derivative sci-fi tropey stuff, I mean, obviously armored human space marine type guys, there's still a very unique look, and with new skirmish games constantly hitting the tables, even if you're not going to get to play the board game as much as you might want, models like this are absolutely going to be seeing some use in some of those other skirmish games. I'm thinking Stargrave. If I can't talk anybody into playing this, I know if Stargrave is going to be anything like Frostgrave rules-wise, I should not have too much of an issue getting people to play. I haven't had a chance to look at the new Legions of Steel's rules, but just so you guys are aware, these are pretty good sized models, and I know for some people that's a big turn-off, some people that's a big turn-on. You can't please everybody, but they are going to be a little bit on the larger side. We'll get them all based and give you a better size indicator in a little bit. Now, I don't have every single model that they have coming out. We'll take a look here at the Nightmare robots. Obviously kind of a Terminator type robot in two different poses. Thinner, but just about the same size as the actual humans. Flopping them everywhere. Now these guys were neat. These are the Recce Commando troops. And obviously he does not have his head. These guys are big. I mean, even by the other model standards. I dig those helmets. You know what it is? It reminds me of Brieros from Appleseed. And I am totally going to end up painting these in E-SWAT colors now. I'm going to have to go back and dig out the fluff. I know they put out a PDF of all the background info somewhere, and I have it on my computer because I was flipping through it, but I noticed some of the similarities in designs of the armor. I'm sure that's intentional. I can't tell if these guys are supposed to be mechs, judging by the feet, or if they are human. What do they here? Now that pose is a little silly. It's almost like a Gumby pose. I think he's got his legs too far apart there. Now, what is this? Oh, this is one of the mercenary add-on guys, isn't it? I'll have to double check his name. I didn't realize he was in here. I'm assuming then that these are his hands, one with a grenade, one with a knife. And another human-looking head. I don't know where that goes to, because maybe it's an optional bit for this guy. He's getting the Brieros head. I'm like, there's no contest there. We have another one here in a different pose. I think he's just supposed to be dashing. It'll help when I get everything based. All right, so for the most part, you can see so far that everything is pretty much single piece castings or just one or two pieces. Some of the models are going to be in a little bit more pieces, though. Not that that's a big deal. The Predators, for example. Lizard-like mech dudes. They do have to have their arms attached. Not that it's that big a deal. It's literally just the two pieces. A little bit of flash there we need to clean up. Not a big deal. I want to say this one goes like this, holding the cannon. And then the arms that have the cannon, you have one left, one right. So that way you can't mix them up too badly. Big gun too. And then we get into the bigger stuff like the Assault Fiend here. Check this guy out now. Shades of the Cyber Demon for sure. He was supposed to have a larger base. Looks like an arm. A leg. And a big pokey trident. So a little bit more complex, and actually the most complex model I have to look at today is what I believe is called the Succubot. Don't take that the wrong way, more like succubus. Except, well, she is a centaur robot. So we have the main part of the body there, and we've got limbs, the arms, an extra leg. There should be... okay, some kind of a staff. It's kind of bent. Fix that up. I don't know. Jetpack, perhaps? It does look like a jetpack, doesn't it? And what looks to be a laser pistol of some sort. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go ahead. I'll build all this stuff. I'm going to prime it up so you guys can see what it actually looks like. Get a good long look, because I mean, I know metal models are pretty easy to see all the details, but I feel like this stuff really, when you get them primed up, it makes it more real, more, I don't know, lively. So give me a sec, I'll put it together, and I'm going to give you guys a nice long look at it. Alright guys, I went ahead and tried to spray everything down with my primer, and I ran out of primer. So apologies if things are a little splotchy and you can still see some shininess from the metal in there, but it is what it is until I at least get some more primer. So grabbing our Earth Commandos again. I did notice that some of the guys have similar guns. Maybe it's because they are of the same faction. I'm not 100% sure, but as I said, there are some similarities in the designs. Ooh, look at that, yeah. I dig it, though. I dig that mask. I like that helmet. It's just weird and boxy and fun. I mean, the other guys... I don't know why this guy's gun reminds me of the old ROM Space Knight blasters fighting the dire wraiths. And our leader with his emo hair. I'm thinking I'm probably going to paint the armor similar to my Algorans in that kind of orangey red. And yeah, he is a little bit smaller, but then again, his base is putting him at a height disadvantage. Balancing it out. Oh, we'll check that out. He's not that much smaller considering he is hunched down. So my initial reservations about the size, I think, were a little misconstrued. Obviously, grabbing a good old squatty Marine, you can see here he is a little bit smaller. But who uses Secundus Marines anyways at this point? We want all the Primaris we can eat. And you can see that they're a lot more in line size-wise. Obviously grabbing an actual human. Yeah, well, then again, he's not wearing powered armor either. Where are our nightmare mechs? So size-wise, I mean, obviously they fit in. But again, with the humans, a little bit smaller. Actually, you know what? I grabbed some other stuff. I'll show you guys in a sec, too. Getting back into the wreck, you guys. Those guys look really big. I don't know if it's just the unique design of their pants. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with those legs. This guy was a pain to get balanced on that base. But once I got some sand and gravel and stuff just to adhere to the side of his foot, that should alleviate those issues completely. Our friend dramatically shooting down the barrel of his gun at something. I think that spare head was actually for this guy, considering he's giving orders there, and I did have to glue that head on. I'm assuming that's what the backwards baseball cap wearing extra head was for. Our big cyber demon type guy. Obviously still need to finish priming it up there. Absolutely, he's much bigger than a human. The Succubot. Actually, I kind of enjoyed building her and having finished putting her together. I do like it. I feel that those hind legs are a little thin, but having glued her all together, I don't think it's the end of the world. It's not that big a deal. And if you guys are curious, I noticed on the actual Kickstarter on Raybox's Kickstarter page, they have links that have a lot of background lore on all of the new models, as well as all the characters in there too, if you are curious. So, of course, I'm going to put a link. The Predators, probably my favorite of the bunch. So, as I was saying, and then our Merc friend, who definitely is in need of some more primer. So yeah, they are bigger than some of the GW stuff, but if you are not adverse to mixing and matching and playing around with both scale and lines, grabbing a random infinity model that's actually standing up instead of leaping over things on one foot, you can see the size actually is not that bad. I mean, yeah, his base is a little bit thicker, but evening him up, I mean, that's not a huge issue. And like I said, with the dearth of new sci-fi skirmish games coming out, there's plenty of opportunities to use these things as well outside of the actual Legions of Steel board game. I just know that being the person who has to buy all these games, and sometimes it's harder to get people to learn a new rule set than to use a nice tried and true game system. So, you know, while I might not necessarily get to use them for their actual 100% fully intended purpose, I absolutely will get these guys on the table one way or the other. Grabbing some other models. Again, so if you don't mind, you know, there's a little bit of a difference. Grabbing a Gates of Antares Freeborn, you can see there's a big difference there. But these guys are on such tiny bases again. Grabbing a Maker's Cult. What were these guys? Crusaders from their Black Knights. Kind of their Space Marine equivalent, you can see here. While he is printed, the size issue no longer exists. Grabbing an Asterian mech. Well, hey, check that out. I'd say that's a pretty good mix if you want to have a whole variety of mechs, droids, bots, whatever you want to call them. I think you can really get some utility out of these guys. Hopefully, Raybox will consider putting in a la carte pledge for people who want to get just a few models. I think that's always a nice option, especially when they're in metal versus, you know, vacuum form trays of plastic minis. Grabbing a Maelstrom's Edge mecha here. Looks like he'd be fairly well at home. So I think there are a lot of possibilities with these guys. I am looking forward to learning more about the rules, but just model-wise, because that's really what I'm all about here. I gotta say, I've enjoyed what I've gotten to work with here. Not too complex of build jobs. Probably the worst fender in that case was the Succubot. And if anything, the biggest challenge was just getting her extra hind leg lined up on the base there. Otherwise, I had no real issues. Everything went together nice and smooth. Where it was already in one piece and I didn't have to really do anything. So, if you're interested, if you like the look of it, definitely a very unique style to it. Almost, I want to say, vintage, retro, 90s sci-fi look to things, which to me isn't necessarily a bad thing, and maybe it isn't to you either. So do take a look at the Kickstarter page, and hopefully you'll like something that'll strike your fancy. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.